What is going on, everybody, and welcome back to the Section Leader Playbook. Guys, this is monthly huddle number 2. So this is an opportunity for all of the whole crew to get together in one physical room. That's why we call it a huddle. And so the idea here is that we are either taking a little bit of class time to do this, or we have found before school, after school, during like a homeroom period situation, something like that. So that way we can actually be in the room together. And if your director has organized that or allowed you to have class time, that's awesome. In fact, the idea behind this is that you can take some class time, and if the section leaders pull out, it's actually going to help isolate more things that the director can work on. So that's why I really recommend this be done during a class period. So let's dive in, y'all. I'm excited for this one. This is the, like I said, monthly huddle number 2, the program check-in. So a couple reminder introductory things. So the first thing here is when you are rehearsing your section, to remember to use your systems, whatever pitch system or rhythm system or musicality system, terminology, what have you, that you use that is familiar to the group. Continue to use those. I had a section leader somewhat recently come up to me and say, hey, there is this mistake and I don't know how to fix the mistake. And so the first thing is, did you use your systems? Are you, if you have a certain counting system, are you using that counting system through rhythmic mistakes, or are you just saying ready, play it? If you dial it back and you go back to a little bit more of those earlier stages of learning these things, then you can build up to the more advanced things that you're trying to get to and probably you already are at. Okay. Remember to slow down the tempos. Often we just like see an area and we go, we need to fix this thing, performance tempo, ready, and go, boom. And that's going to be too fast. It might be perfect for you. You might be at, performance tempo, but your section may not be. Many of your sections may not be. So then I also recommend play less or sing less to listen more. This is something I even struggle with, where we need to engage more with our ears than with our instrument. And so, say, hey, we're going to take it from measure 8 to measure 20, and I'm not going to play. I'm not going to sing. I'm going to really listen. And ready, go. And you just establish that, and it's a little bit, really get that tempo in there, but you're establishing that, hey, I'm really listening for this. I'm trying to be intentional with how I'm listening, and I need you to be intentional with how you're playing. Then, of course, this is a big reminder here. Make sure that you are using the library and the asynchronous lessons again while you're brushing your teeth and tying your shoes in the morning. These are not something that you have to engage with multiple hours every day or something. This program is designed for your busy schedules, but these are things that we can tap into you as you are going through your lives and your schooling to better your leadership and to better your to better the impact that you have and to better the results that you have and the reach that you have with your section mates. So sectionleaderplaybook.com, and then once you get to that landing page, right there you can click on login, or if you're already logged in, my library, and there's an image there top right, like all the way over, and that's what the library page looks like. And then it should have things that look like that, where it says 25-26 full year program, or SLP plus, whatever it's called, whatever you're enrolled in. Make sure you're going through those lessons and you're able to absorb that information and then apply those techniques and strategies. Okay, so at a glance today, real quick, why you are important. You are an important piece to this puzzle, so we want to build you up. And what they need, they meaning your section mates, what do they need from you? And then growth mindset. So let's dive into this thing. All right, why you are important. So you are helping do 2 things that your director is also doing. You are building on the foundations, or building on the basics, as sometimes I like to say, and you are developing the details, or you're helping develop the details. So a lot of times in sectionals, we're covering parts. And one of the reasons why sectionals are so good is because we can put everybody into a different space and we say, work on the thing you need to work on for 10 minutes. Or everybody work on this section, this area for 10 minutes, as opposed to the director going, okay, we're going to work with the flutes for 10 minutes while everybody else just chills. And then we're going to work with, and of course, we try to not make it 10 minutes, but sometimes time gets away from us directors. But the idea here is that we are optimizing time. So sectionals are here to optimize time, but sometimes they're not optimized because section leaders are not as well equipped, and that's where we come in. So when we're building on the basics, I want you to use a focused ear. This is the difference between listening and hearing. Hearing is when the sound finds you, but listening is when you go find the sound, right? Hearing is pretty passive, where listening is very active. You need to know what something is supposed to sound like before you can assess it that way, right? Before you actually listen to the thing, you have to know what it sounds like. So that's what we call inner ear versus outer ear, and I have lessons on that coming up in this program. So you're listening for correct rhythms and correct pitches when it comes to the foundations. Are we playing this thing correctly, or are we singing this thing correctly? Going back to our systems, if you're using a rhythmic system, maybe you just count the thing out. If you are, if you have a pitch system, especially singers using things like solfege or numbers, that's also very good. We want to make sure you're using those things. Developing the details. This happens a lot in rehearsal, but also in sectionals. You might have the opportunity to reinforce this idea. So we're going to start using some terminology here in cleaning and polishing. Cleaning is when you are addressing small errors, right? Where there's like a release, or there's an articulation, or there's a crescendo. Those things are actually printed on the page, and it's a matter of cleaning those things up and making sure they are consistent. But polishing is when we can really add enhancements to the music, where things that might not be printed on the page but can really take the song, that piece, to the next level. Okay, we'll dive more into that in the curriculum. So what they need from you. What do they need from you? And they are, of course, as I mentioned earlier, are your section mates. What do they need from you? So they need two major things right now. They need musical competence, and they need an inviting attitude. So we'll start with musical competence. So strong musicality, a strong sense of this music, right? With that should also then come a rehearsal plan, some idea of what you're going to do. And it might not be a full-fledged, like lesson plan. In fact, that might feel like overkill, but at least a looking through the piece and going, circle that's what we're doing next sectional. That at least you have something to start on. You circle the thing, or you put a little asterisk by it, and you say, this pitch thing hasn't been working. That's something we need to work. So at least having some semblance of what to work on will save you some time and headache. And what is that supposed to sound like? Inviting attitude here. We want you to be warm and supportive. That will be much more beneficial for your section mates, where you're warm and supportive. If you're cold or if you're aggressive, they might shut down. Remember, you're their peer as much as, if not more than, you are their leader, and they might view you that, especially like your grade level peers. This is an adjustment for them. So be warm and inviting. Be the motivational driver of their learning. Okay, that's one thing that's one of the biggest things teachers need to be. And I'm not just talking about students who are teaching, but I'm talking about directors too, and teachers in any subject. We need to be the motivational drive and the motivational driver of the content. We're the bridge between where the students and what we want that final product to be. And to get them there might take some lifting and inspiring to drive them to do a lot of this themselves. And that's the goal: independence, musical independence. So be that motivational driver, and to do that, be inviting, be warm and supportive. not in a fake way, but I see too many section leaders who are just aggressive, and they put on this facade. And I want to really encourage you to find that warmth within your character. Okay. Okay. Words matter as well. One time I was watching a trombone sectional, and the section leader just goes, "Ah, that was mediocre at best." And I went, "Whoa!" that right there, the whole section just went, and they just shut down. And that section leader was under some pressure, but you are never under too much pressure where you're going to lose that supportive nature and that person-centric, people-centric self, right? So if something is that way, if in your brain you would say, wow, that's mediocre at best, you'd say, okay, how can I reframe that in my mind to not think that way? And then also too, how would I present that to the group? So instead of saying that was mediocre at best, you can say, hey guys, that was not quite our level. I know where our level is, and I think you would agree with me that we have a certain level. So let's keep working to attain this level, and we can here's the specific musical thing that we need to work, or the technical thing we need to work, and that's how we can clean or polish what we're doing. Okay? So the next thing here is growth mindset, and this is all throughout leadership. This is, as I said here today, I'm not your perfect leader. I have not hit the pinnacle of leadership and that's it for me, and all of a sudden I'm going to teach leadership. I'm still trying to grow, and I'm still trying to develop myself as a leader. And so growth mindset is key here. Leadership and music are both infinite missions. So when we talk about that, we can talk about how these things, there might be an end goal, or there might be like a capstone where we present these things, but there's no true finish. These things will continue on for the rest of our lives. And a lot of you, whether you're right now you're listening to this, or you're in high school, or you're in college, or even adult community groups, which we have a few clients who are in the adult community ensemble space. This is always something we strive for. So there is no, oh, I'm done, I'm the pinnacle leader. At that point, that means you've shut off the idea of being able to grow. And that is actually the opposite of leadership. So when it comes to actually listening to your section, if you are comfortable with your part, it usually means a lack of awareness and or a lack of creativity, right? So maybe I'm comfortable with my part. Well, are you really? Or are there things that you are missing? You are not aware of things that you're missing. Or are you aware of the things that are missing and you just don't have the ways to fix it? Either way, we can help you with those things, and that's what we're here for. But being, sitting back in the lazy boy and just, we're good, we're comfy. I know concert's coming up, we got to be comfy. There's always things to be fixing. Now, it's never with a debilitating mindset of, oh my gosh, this is awful. But it's like, hey, we can grow, we can fix this thing. We got to move, but this thing needs to be fixed. So anyway, we're gonna keep going. One of the things that I like to talk about is thoughts that you might have, or even things that might be verbalized in your section. One of the things that I cannot stand is, we already know the part, or I already know the part, done. Or even, we've already performed it once. We performed it for a concert, now we're going to perform it for our organizational festival. That is limiting mindset. That's actually fixed mindset. That puts a cap on what you can achieve. So instead of thinking, we already know the part, try thinking something like, the basics are down, pitches and rhythms feel good, but the details could still use work. We could still really work to polish this thing or enhance this thing in some way. I might not know what it is right now, but there's probably something we could dig deeper on. Okay? So more work is ready to be done. It's waiting for you. You got to go find it. Okay? Work to develop tone. That's really important. In all sectionals, you want a nice, cohesive, collective tone. If some people are playing, like let's say, Maybe go back to those trombones. They're playing like with a really wide, like tinny, brassy sound, and you want to open up and warm up that sound. How can we find that collectively? And maybe we try a little something something first, just to do some tone development, and then we apply that into our literature, our repertoire. Okay, and then fine tune musicality. Excuse me for that spelling mistake. Fine tune musicality. Again, our phrase. How's our phrasing? Are we going through a full 4 bars? Or are we trying to breathe every 2 bars? Are we, are we doing our ties and our slurs and our legatos and staccatos correctly? Fine tuning these things, really cleaning and fine tuning and polishing. Okay, always work to be done. Always work to be done. So keep striving for more and grow. Okay, one of the quotes that I really like, and I did put this in one of the lessons in the library. But if you want to go quickly, go alone. If you want to go far, go together. That's an African proverb. It's one of my favorites. I heard it one time many years ago, and it stuck with me. If you want to go quickly, go alone. If you want to go far, go together. Nothing in music is an emergency. And so quickly really isn't in our vocabulary a lot, but far and reaching a high level is. And we can do that over time. And the only way to do that is together. Every time I hear that phrase, I think of like a group of people who are adventuring out, who are, traveling, hiking through a mountain range. And so I was able to get that picture for us on that. Okay, so some discussion questions. Remember, in the lessons, they're more reflection questions, but in the huddles, they're discussions. So take some time here to go over these things. So, and I should have told you this, you need one piece of music. Everybody quickly come to a consensus on that one piece of music that you could look at. Maybe it's something that you're struggling the most with. And then, actually, so let's go ahead and do that. Get that piece of music out. You can pause the video. Okay, now that you've got that one piece of music out, find the area that you think your section should make their top priority. Find the area that you think is your section's top priority. And it could just be like one measure or one note. We're not getting this pitch, or we're da-da-da-da. How do you plan to approach that? What systems would you use? What musical or rehearsal system would you use to fix that thing? And then, here's a big one. What area or areas of your leadership, excuse my apologies for the typo, what areas of your leadership training would you like to develop the most? This is introspection. This is thinking inward. What areas do I need? And this is nothing that's your fault. This is not, why do you need to work communication? No, but this is a moment to go, I can get better. This is growth mindset, right? What areas do you think in your leadership do you need to develop the most? And then what I'm going to encourage you to do is click on the form below and fill it out. And let me know what things you could work on and any specific thing that might be going on in the program or in your sectional. Because I'm still developing this program and constantly, working on things and iterating things and trying to develop things for you guys. And I would love that information. I would love that data. So, okay. At this point, y'all, we should be about halfway through the first module. So we should be 8 lessons through right now. So next up should be sub-module 3, musical fixes, where we're learning more about how to actually fix these things. So if you're not quite there yet, again, hop on that. Find 2 times a week where you can spend 20 minutes. Again, even if it's in brushing your teeth, tying your shoes, maybe you could play it through a Bluetooth speaker as you whatever. Maybe you could not watch the video, but if you want to, as you're as you're going to school, you're traveling to school, got a lot of options there. Okay, so thank you all again. Really looking forward to making more connections with you guys, and I'm going to leave you with the discussion questions at the top. Okay, I gotta go. Ready? Break.